Millions of car owners are about to get hit with fines they never saw coming. And the reason is sitting right in their driveway. Governments don't care about your budget. They don't care that you paid good money for that car. They set a deadline. They drew a line. And every vehicle that doesn't meet that line becomes a financial trap. And right now, that trap is closing. The laws are already active. The zones are already expanding. And the cars on the danger list. We're talking about engines that were considered reliable, even excellent just 5 years ago, are losing value every single week they sit unsold. So let's get into exactly what's happening, which engines are affected, and what you need to do before the market collapses on you. This all starts with emission standards. Every combustion engine, petrol or diesel, produces byproducts when it burns fuel: carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, particulate matter. The Euro rating system was created to measure and limit those byproducts. Euro 1 was introduced in 1992. Each generation got stricter. Euro 6 is the current standard for new cars. Euro 7 is coming, and it's so aggressive that most existing engine architectures physically cannot comply. Not with a remap, not with a DPF clean. The combustion process itself produces more than the law will allow. That's the technical reality. And that technical reality is now a legal and financial one. Because cities aren't waiting for 2035, they're acting now. London's ULEZ charges £12.50 every single day for non-compliant vehicles entering the zone. Paris has active restrictions during peak pollution days. Berlin, Madrid, Amsterdam, all operating low-emission zones with expanding boundaries. France has legislated that every city above 150,000 inhabitants must have a ZFE, a Zone à Faibles Émissions, operational. Fines start at €135 per violation, not per day, per entry. In the United States, California's ZEV mandate combined with the Clean Air Act is already affecting resale values across 17 states. Dealers know what's coming, private buyers know what's coming, and they're pricing it in right now. So let's talk about the specific engines that are in immediate danger. First category, diesels pre-2015 with Euro 4 or Euro 5 ratings. This is the largest group and the most urgent. We're talking about engines that were genuinely well engineered. The 2.0 TDI from Volkswagen, the 2.0D from BMW, the 1.6 HDI from Peugeot and Citroën, Ford's Duratorq 2.2. These engines have real mechanical integrity, good torque, reasonable fuel economy, proven longevity. None of that matters anymore. A 2013 Golf TDI was worth €12,000 3 years ago. That same car today moves for under $6,500. That's not normal depreciation. That's a market pricing in a future where that vehicle cannot legally enter half the cities in Europe. And it's not slowing down. It's accelerating. Because the buyers who remain in that market know they're buying a car with a shrinking geographic range and an expiration date on resale value. They're discounting hard, and they'll discount harder next year. Every month you hold a pre-2015 diesel in a European or California adjacent market, you are losing between $200 and $400 in real value, not on paper, in actual transaction prices. Second, petrol engines without a gasoline particulate filter built before 2011. This one catches people off guard because petrol engines have historically been cleaner than diesels. But particulate matter regulations don't distinguish by fuel type anymore. If your petrol engine doesn't have a GPF, it fails the new standards by default. No software fix, no aftermarket solution that passes inspection. The filter either exists in the exhaust system or it doesn't. Check your build date. Check your spec sheet. If you're running a naturally aspirated or turbocharged petrol engine from before 2011 without a particulate filter, you are in the same position as the pre-2015 diesel owner, sitting on a depreciating asset in a shrinking market. Third, Euro 5 diesels from 2010 to 2014. These are the ones people think are safe. They're not. They have more time than Euro 4, but not much. The ZFE boundaries are already starting to catch Euro 5 vehicles in the most aggressive cities. London's ULEZ already covers them. Paris is moving in that direction, the resale window on these is closing. Right now you can still get a reasonable price. In 18 months, that window will be significantly smaller. Now, let's talk numbers. Because this is where most car owners make the biggest mistake. They look at their car and they think about what they paid for it. They think about the repairs they've done, the tires they replaced, the money they've put into it, and they use that number to decide whether to sell or keep. That's the wrong calculation entirely. The only number that matters is what that car will be worth in 24 months. Not what you paid, not what you've spent, what someone will actually hand you cash for in 2 years, when the ZFE zones have expanded, when more buyers understand what's coming, and when the market for these engines has contracted even further. Let me give you the real numbers. A Euro 5 diesel from 2012. Let's use a BMW 320D as the example, because it's one of the most common cars on European roads. In 2020, that car was selling for around 14,000 euros in clean condition. Today, depending on mileage, you're looking at 7,000 to 9,000. That's already a 40% drop. But here's the projection that should concern you. Based on the trajectory of ZFE expansion and the rate at which the buyer pool is shrinking, that same car in 2027 will realistically transact between 2,500 and 4,000 euros. If you can find a buyer at all outside of rural markets. That's not speculation. That's what happened to Euro 4 diesels between 2019 and 2023. The curve is identical, just shifted 2 years forward. And the cruelest part of this situation is timing. The people who sold their Euro 4 diesels in 2019 and 2020, before the panic, before the headlines, before the mass awareness, got real money for their cars. The people who waited until 2022 and 2023 took a significant hit. The people still holding them today are essentially giving them away. You are right now in the 2019 to 2020 window for Euro 5 diesels. The market still exists. The prices are still reasonable. Buyers can still get financing on these vehicles in most markets. That window does not stay open indefinitely. Every week of hesitation is a direct transfer of money out of your pocket. Now let's address the mechanical side of this, because some of you are thinking about fixes, about ways to bring your engine into compliance and avoid selling. I want to be straight with you, because there's a lot of misinformation circulating about this. The first thing people ask about is DPF cleaning or replacement. The diesel particulate filter traps particulate matter in the exhaust. Over time, it clogs. Many owners have had it cleaned or replaced, hoping it solves their emission problem. Here's the technical reality. A clean DPF helps with particulate emissions. It does not change your NOx output, nitrogen oxide emissions, and NOx is the primary target of Euro 6 and Euro 7 standards. The DPF is one component of a complex emission control system. Cleaning it alone does not bring a Euro 4 or Euro 5 engine into Euro 6 compliance. It's not even close. The second question is AdBlue systems and SCR, selective catalytic reduction. Some Euro 5 and Euro 6 diesels use AdBlue injection to convert NOx into harmless nitrogen and water. If your vehicle has this system and it's functioning correctly, you have a better position than a vehicle without it. But it still doesn't solve the fundamental issue of being a diesel in an expanding low-emission zone. The third option people consider is engine conversion, swapping to electric. This is called a retrofit or EV conversion, and it is technically possible. The cost in most markets runs between 8,000 and 20,000 euros depending on the vehicle, the battery capacity, and the labor involved. For a car currently worth 7,000 euros, that math does not work. For a classic vehicle with strong sentimental or collector value, it might make sense. For a standard daily driver, it almost never does. The fourth option, and this one is worth considering seriously, is a CNG or LPG conversion on petrol engines. Compressed natural gas and liquefied petroleum gas produce significantly lower particulate and NOx emissions than standard petrol combustion. In some markets, LPG converted vehicles qualify for reduced ZFE restrictions. The conversion cost runs between 1,500 and 3,500 euros. If you're in a rural or semi-urban area where ZFE zones are not yet a daily concern, this can extend the useful life of your vehicle meaningfully. But understand, it is a delay, not a solution. The honest mechanical assessment is this: there is no retrofit that brings a pre-2015 diesel into full compliance with emerging Euro 7 standards at a cost that makes financial sense relative to the vehicle's current market value. The engineering gap is too large. So given all of that, what do you actually do right now? There are 3 realistic paths, and the right one depends on your specific situation. Option 1. Sell now while the market still works in your favor. This is the right move if your vehicle falls into the red category: pre-2015 diesel, pre-2011 petrol without a GPF, or any vehicle that already faces restrictions in your city or region. The process is straightforward. Get 3 valuations: 1 from a dealer trade-in, 1 from a specialist used car platform, 1 from a private listing. The private sale will almost always return the highest number. Use the dealer quote as your floor. If private sale isn't moving, you know your minimum exit price. Do not wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment was 2 years ago. The second best moment is now. Option 2, keep it, but with a clear-eyed understanding of the risk. This makes sense in one specific scenario. You live outside any current or projected ZFE zone. You have no plans to move to a major city, and you're using this vehicle purely as a rural or suburban daily driver with no intention of selling. In that case, you are not facing the urban restriction problem. You're only facing the depreciation problem. And if you intend to drive the car until it stops running, depreciation is irrelevant. The car has value to you as transportation, not as an asset. But be honest with yourself about this. If there is any realistic chance you'll want to sell this vehicle in the next 3 years, option 2 is not your friend. Option 3, upgrade strategically. Not to a full electric if you're not ready, not to a hybrid if the price doesn't make sense for your budget. But if you're going to sell your current vehicle anyway, think carefully about what you replace it with. A Euro 6D petrol from 2020 or later gives you meaningful runway, realistically 5 to 8 years before it faces serious restriction pressure in most markets. A plug-in hybrid gives you even more. A full electric solves the problem permanently with the trade-off of higher upfront cost and charging infrastructure dependency. The key principle here is simple. You are not just buying a car, you are buying a compliance window. How many years of unrestricted use does this vehicle give you in the markets where you actually drive? Price that window into your decision. Here is what the next 36 months looks like if current legislation holds and no major policy reversals occur. 2025. ZFE zones in France reach full operational status in cities above 150,000 inhabitants. Euro 4 diesels face daily restrictions in all covered zones. Used diesel prices in urban markets fall another 15 to 20%. 2026, London ULEZ enforcement increases. Several German cities tighten low-emission zone boundaries. Euro 5 diesel resale values begin their steepest decline as buyer awareness reaches critical mass. 2027, the used diesel market in major European cities becomes functionally illiquid for pre-2015 vehicles. Trade-in values at dealerships drop to scrap-adjacent levels for the most affected engines. The buyer pool for private sales contracts to rural markets only. 2028 and beyond, Euro 7 implementation begins affecting newer vehicles. The compliance pressure shifts up the age curve. What is today a Euro 6 problem becomes a mainstream issue. This is the timeline. It is not worst case. It is the baseline derived from legislation that has already been voted, signed, and scheduled. The window to act is open right now. It will not stay open. Drop your car model and year in the comments. I'll tell you exactly which category it falls into and what your move should be. And if you want to know which 3 cars will still be completely legal and fully sellable in every market in 2030, that video is coming next.